What is going on, YouTube friends and family? It's the guy with beard, guns, and gear. It's been a couple of days now since I made that video about being, requested at least, a search by the police. And I've been doing a lot of thinking. And there's a couple of things I want to go over. So you probably see me like refer to notes once in a while. I just didn't want to it's not like I'm accepting an Oscar for best performance or something and there I have a list of people to thank. But I wanted to make sure I kept my thoughts as ordered as I think they were in my mind when I kind of came to a few conclusions. Like I said, stressful, yes. Is it the worst thing that could have happened? Excuse me. Probably not. There's probably a lot worse things, but certainly a nightmare scenario for anybody that may go through it in the future, that's already gone through it in the past. And I know that you guys are a lot. I read all the comments, and my God, it's way more frequent than I would have believed. I guess we just don't hear about it. So a couple of things. First of all, I want to thank you guys so much. The support that I have got from the firearms community has been unreal. I never would have thought that. I know that you guys are an amazing bunch. And for those of you watching, if you don't have firearms, and if you've ever been to a range or talked to a group of hunters or anything like that, we are extremely open about our hobby. We're passionate about it. We talk about it. I mean, if you have questions, people go out of their way to ask questions, to show you what they're doing, to help educate. I have learned a lot from this, and yes, I'm a small channel. Okay, I'm learning how to work the equipment. For those guys who pointed out that I filmed it in vertical mode, vice horizontal. Okay, so a few things have happened. The comments, wow, like I stayed up till about 2 o'clock in the morning for about 3 nights in a row, because I don't know if you've looked at the video, but it hit like 253,000 views, which is absolutely amazing, which means that enough people are concerned about what's going on that they actually watch the video. And my intent to throw that out there was to help somebody else kind of deal with it if it happens. So I stayed up long nights. I read every single one of your comments. I replied. Sometimes it was very short because there wasn't much to reply to, because it was also a repetitive comment. And I'm going to address those. And then other times they were comments that I didn't necessarily want to reply to, even though I may or may not agree with them. I'm still trying to keep this civil, let's say. So I got accused of deleting comments, which I have not done. I have not deleted any comments. I believe that forums like mine, or the channel like mine, I want to keep it as open as possible. I don't care if somebody comes on there and goes on a 5-minute tirade. I want to address some of the comments. As I said, I learned a lot. So I guess I'll start from like the top one. The most, I feel like I'm doing a David Letterman top 10 right now, but, and I don't know if you're old enough to remember David Letterman. If you are, hey, welcome to the channel, and good to have you on board. Anyway, the number one comment was, close your door, don't talk to them, don't answer any questions unless you see a warrant. And absolutely 100%, this is what I have learned. I think the culture in Canada is a little bit different than most of people have experienced living outside of Canada. In the US, we've been brought up to be polite and respectful, and and that includes authority figures. But things could have gone really bad, and not because, like I said, I have or I'm doing anything illegal, but I didn't need them poking around. So my wife handled this very well, in fact, amazingly well, based on the fact that I wasn't there. But I could have got into a lot of trouble. Let's say she scours the house up and down, and I have the key here for the storage, and she happens to find a key and is able to unlock the safe where I have restricted firearms. Well, now a non-PAL person acquisition license holder has access to restricted firearms, so that's bad. Anyway, she doesn't, and we're fine, but it's a definite lesson learned, right? If they're insisting, if they have a warrant, if they're coming back with a warrant, first thing I'm going to do is call a lawyer, okay? And I advise, I'm not a lawyer, But I would advise, similar for yourselves. So that's the number one comment. The number two comment, basically, same kind of thing. You don't have to talk to them unless you're presented with a warrant. But then on the other side of that, people also thought that, no, you did your RPAL, so it says right there that they don't need a warrant. And in this, I will point you in the direction of Runkle of the Bailey, Runkle of the Bailey, who covered this of what happened to me. He did an awesome video. I watched it a couple times actually, and I learned a lot from it. So I'm not a lawyer. I'm not very good at interpreting. I try to inform myself, but I'm not very good at interpreting rules, regulations, law. And I mean, people are doing that for their profession, and he's certainly one of them. So if you don't know who he is, and I don't know why you wouldn't, unless you're living in the US, and maybe he wouldn't be as popular there, but go check out his channel. I'm going to have a link in the description for the exact video of him reacting to this. He has a wealth of knowledge and experience, and he's got amazing videos out there where he talks about other things that are going to help you as firearms owners, and to enjoy our hobby and to also protect our rights. So I also thought that they could come in if they give you, without a warrant to check on restricted firearms. But anyway, he explains all that. I won't steal his thunder, just like he didn't steal mine. But we were in communication. A few people had linked my video over to him to take a look at, and he contacted me. Very nice guy. Anyway, super chill. And he did an amazing job at covering what happened to me, and I certainly learned a lot from watching his video, not just my experience, but watching his video. And I want to touch on, the best quote I heard was, and I don't know if I'm getting this exactly right, but it's somewhere on the long lines of, you'll never get yourself into more trouble by saying nothing. The opposite is not the case. So you can open your mouth and you can talk and you can walk yourself down that road to getting into more trouble. But if you just keep quiet, you're not going to get in more trouble. So that's my takeaway from the whole experience. Another one was, God love you, the people from the US that tuned into this, they said, well, that's, I explained the storage regulations here in Canada a little bit, and I kind of went over how they have to be rendered inoperable when they're stored. And a lot of the comments were, I'm paraphrasing, but they were basically, well, that's ridiculous. How is it supposed to be useful if it's disassembled? Canada, US, we do not have the same rules when it comes to defending yourself, up to and including, killing somebody else or self-defense. You know what I'm saying. We do have provisions in the criminal code, and I'm not an expert on this. I've read the chapter that has to do with, and I think it's 34, article or chapter 34 of the criminal code provides for self-defense, but it doesn't specifically mention firearms. What I will tell you, based on everything I've heard, and I read every time a firearm is drawn in self-defense in Canada, I read about it, and every single person has been charged with at least 2 charges: careless discharge of a firearm, as well as improper storage. That's like the catch-all, right? Like, how did you get a bullet to come out of it if it was supposed to be disassembled or with a trigger lock on it? So anyway, that's the difference between Canada and the US. Not that there's only one difference, but certainly regarding self-defense, that is one of the big differences. We do not have a constitution. We do not have amendments to our constitution which protects our rights like you guys in the US. I wish we had one. I wish our rights were more difficult to be taken away, let's say, or chipped away, I guess. Not really taken away, but chipped away for sure. Shall not be infringed is not a statement that exists in Canada. We're kind of patterned after, much like Australia, New Zealand, etc., any of those countries, we can be granted a permit to have the privilege of owning a firearm. And boy, oh boy, I got the comments. You should go back and check out that video and read the comments and just look at the differences, what the Australians and the New Zealanders are dealing with now. Wow. I thought we had it bad. I know it's getting bad. It's getting worse. But what they're dealing with is, it's it would be a headache, and I guess probably a lot of people would give up their privilege of owning a firearm, and I can understand why, and that is the goal, right? So another comment that came out quite frequently is, well, your son probably said more than just that. He was probably talking about more than just hunting or whatever. And here's what I'll say to that. It is possible. I mean, kids get excited when they're talking with their friends. They can talk about stuff. It doesn't matter how old he is. He could be 25 years old, but people, when they're around their friends, they relax a little bit and they get excited when they're talking about something that might have been talking about video games. I might have been talking about what would happen if the zombie apocalypse happened, blah, 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 blah. Any of that. If he didn't threaten anybody, or he didn't threaten his own life with a firearm, then it doesn't matter what he said. And as you probably know, I don't even remember if I mentioned that in the first video, but as you know, no, I didn't. I talked about it in the comments because I hadn't had my appointment with the school yet. But I went to the school, I talked to the administration, and they basically admitted that he did not threaten anybody. That wasn't the case. But in their words, when we have the threat of violence involving firearms, and I kept on asking them, what threat of violence? Anyway, they finally admitted that there was no threat of violence, but that they feel obligated to react no matter what. So I'm going to turn the page on that, and I say to you, it doesn't matter what he talks about. And we're going to get to another point that I kind of, like I said, I put a lot of thought the last couple of days about this. So this is going on to my next point. So there was a lot of people that were saying, why would you, walk out of your house carrying firearms? And I said, I go to the range. My garage is full. I cannot bring my vehicle into the garage. But that's what they were saying. Maybe you should put your firearms in a golf bag or a guitar case and do it that way. No, I am not doing that because I don't know. Maybe you could get charged with like trying to hide a firearm or something like that. I don't know. But there's so many Karens around. I don't think that that's needed, and in fact, I'm not doing that. I have made the decision that I don't want to be a dirty secret anymore. I want to be able to proudly show that I'm carrying out a generational hobby. My dad hunted, like all the people in my family, fathers, uncles, great uncles, you name it, they all hunted. There's no need that this is not a secret society that we have to hide in the shadows. And honest to God, I was sending somebody outside the door to check to see if there was anybody on the road when I was carrying the gun back. I'm not doing that anymore. If they've got a question, come on over and ask. I'll talk about it. If I get a phone call and I get confronted about it, it is what it is. Like I've said before, I have nothing to hide. I'm not doing anything illegal. This is a perfectly legal hobby so far. And I'm not doing that anymore. We haven't done anything wrong. And frankly, I'm sick of hiding it like it's a dirty secret. I'm not doing it anymore. So the next comment was like, how did we get here? What happened? And man, I've been scratching my head. I don't know how it happened either. I can tell you that the atmosphere in the last 8 years certainly has really shot through the roof as far as anti-gun. And we have been constantly vilified by the media. There was a recent clip that was released. CCFR kind of covered it already. But they were talking, interviewing one of the survivors of the school shooting in Montreal, and they rolled file footage. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. They rolled file footage of somebody with an automatic like M4 or whatever, and doing a 30-round mag dump. And the media was like, "Oh, okay, so this is the firearms you're happy that are finally outlawed with the introduction of Bill C-21," and they were all happy and basically high-fiving about their success. But those firearms have been outlawed for decades here in Canada. So we know that those are not the ones that are being affected by Bill C-21. So I'm sick and tired of being vilified by the media. I'm not doing it anymore. I will, every time somebody says something that is ignorant that they heard on the news, I am going to do my best to correct that, and I encourage you guys to do the same. There was a lot of comments about We have to stop doing this. And this is where I'm at right now. This is why I've thought about it so long. You're absolutely right. We have to stop doing this, and we have to be spokespeople for our hobbies. Maybe we get in a little bit of trouble. Maybe the Karens get upset at us. But if enough people start doing this like it's a normal behavior, maybe we can bring back some of the normalcy to our activity. Maybe. I mean, that's a steep uphill battle, but I'm going to start fighting, be more active in that battle. Anyway, and I encourage you to do the same. Anyways, wow. Why is Canada at this point? Well, since the current government that is in power right now got into 8 years ago, they were elected for the first time, let's say, we have been attacked by the OIC of 2020, Bill C-21, and most recently Bill 71, and then most recently Bill 21, which is, passed. And it has just been one thing after another. The most comprehensive weapons control acts that have been lodged against us since the original writing of the Firearms Act. I mean, that's where we are, right? And it's not looking any better for us. So we need a change of government. We all know that. We're doing our part, and I'm sure lots of other people are doing their part. In fact, I had people that weren't even involved in firearms kind of come into this conversation through comments and say, this is frightening that, you're getting in trouble for basically illegal activity. And then they're wondering on their, on their own parts, like, where's this going to lead? And you look in the UK where, knives, right? Anything over 3.5 inches. I'm not sure if they have to have a knife lock on that now or what, but it's ridiculous. So I mentioned Runkle of the Bailey, and I cannot thank him enough. This is not the kind of content that I wanted to do. I want to talk about like cool things. I don't know, like, I want to talk about like a knife like this. I want to go over, hunting gear and firearms gear and do reviews. This is not what I want to be doing. But like I said, I've put a lot of thought in this, and I've been thinking about this lately, and I think we all need to be better spokespeople. And now maybe I have that venue where I can, be a little bit more loud about it. Go check out the video by Runkle of the Bailey, because he eloquently explains what happened, what could happen, what I should have done better, what I did all right, and so on and so on. Huge thanks to him. And moving forward, I'm going to go back to what I do. I just wanted to send out a sum up video because I think I answered somewhere around the neighborhood of 4,000 comments. And maybe I didn't get to the replies of replies or replies of replies of replies, but I think I tried. If I missed you, I'm really sorry. It wasn't my intent, because it is actually very interesting for me and very fascinating to read that. That's why I started doing it. Well, that and the fact that my kids said, Dad, you kind of know a little bit. I mean, you should get into it. And so it was an activity for all of us. And anyway. Sum it up, Gary. Yeah. I'm not hiding anymore. I'm done with it. I'm not, and I just want to tell a little story about this. So years ago when we first moved here, and got invited by some of the neighbors who got to know us a little bit, and they said, yeah, you should come on over for dinner. And we're like, yeah, that would be nice. That'd be awesome, because we were working a lot on renos in our house. So we went over for dinner, and the wife looks to the husband and says, yeah, we've been talking about this, and because we had a couple of drinks and we were being social. And they said, yeah, we've been talking about this, and we decided, like, if there's ever like an end of the world scenario coming, and they threw out like zombies or whatever, that we're coming to your house. And I said, well, that's weird. And he said, why is it weird? I said, well, because I'm coming to your house. And they're like, oh, because we have the generator? I'm like, no, I have one of those. And she goes, well, why then? I said, well, I'm coming over to take your stuff. And I said it like half joking, well, more than half joking. And I remember the look on her face, and she suddenly realized, like, yeah. I'm like, if you don't think that's how that works, you haven't watched enough zombie apocalypse movies. I mean, anyway. We're still we're still neighbors and we're still friends, and she knows I was kidding, and I was kidding. But I mean, I'm sure we would still be we probably still have police around to make sure that we carried our firearms or we didn't have access to them, even if a zombie apocalypse happened. So there is that as well. Anyway, so I thought about, and I don't want my kid to be ashamed or worried about talking about what he does on the weekend or if he goes out as well. So I don't know how to be a better, like, to be a silent spokesperson. I don't know. Buy him a whole new wardrobe with nothing but Remington and Browning outfits, and just, you know, see how that goes, I guess. Certainly he'd be happy about that. He's behind the camera right now, like, giving me big thumbs up. So I really, again, I just want to close up by saying I really appreciate the support. That video went like bonkers. I was sitting there watching it and I couldn't believe it, and very, very humbling. Again, not the videos that I wanted to do, but I wanted to give you guys a shout out and give you guys a sum up and let you know that I'm good. Nothing has happened. A lot of people reaching out, like, how can we support you? How can you support me? If you came over from Runkle of the Bailey, awesome. I would really, the only support I want is watch a few of my videos. If you don't like it, throw a comment down what I could be doing better. If you do like it, click a like and subscribe. That's all I want. That's all I'm doing this for. Guy with beard, guns, and, well, beard, gear, and so far guns, I guess. I still have my stuff, so we'll see what happens in the future. But guys, do your part. Educate your public. Educate those who don't know. You still have to watch out for Karens, but I mean, like, Karens are everywhere, and I don't mean Karens as a female. I mean, it could be a male Karen. What's a male Karen? A Ken, right? Ken or Karens or Kevins or whatever they are. They're everywhere. Be on the watch, but don't be afraid of them if you're doing something completely legal. I love you guys. So much appreciation for everything that I've heard in the last week. Peace out, and hey, keep tuning in.